Miss, I made this drawing. The little boy smiled shyly, extending his magic creation towards you. He drew a house surrounded by greenery, messily colored with different shades. Oh my god, that's so beautiful. You beamed, making the small boy smile bashfully. You ruffled his hair and pressed a soft kiss on his cheek. Good work, keep it up, cutie. He grinned and ran back to his seat, hopping like a happy rabbit. You chuckled, your heart swelling with the overloaded cuteness. Your attention diverted to Jose, who approached you, dragging his feet. His tiny hands held a paper while his head was downcasted to the floor. He was the shyest kid of all, and it was surprising when he willingly came to you. You raised an eyebrow as he extended the paper towards you, but didn't lift his gaze to meet your eyes. He drew a lady, or precisely, put all of his creation to draw a lady. It was messy, clumsily drawn, but for you, it was far more beautiful than any expensive art piece. What could be more beautiful than kids' imagination? Their imagination might be weird but creative. Oh, Jose, she is such a beautiful lady. Who is she? You asked, your voice tinged with childish enthusiasm. He shifted on his feet, swaying side to side and shyly pointed at you. Oh, is it me? Oh my goodness, I have never looked so beautiful in my entire life. Thank you, Jose. You exclaimed and ruffled his hair while he hung his head low as though wanting to bury it on the floor. Can I keep it? He nodded, finally lifting his head to meet your gaze. You smiled at him and kept the drawing aside with the other kids' art creations. You thought he would go back to his seat, but he kept standing there, hanging his head low again. Your brows furrowed in confusion. You want something, Jose? Your eyes narrowed in confusion when he lifted his head and your gaze met his glossy ones. His lips puckered in a side pout as few tears rolled down his cheeks. It hurt your heart as you couldn't endure tears in kids' eyes. Hey, what happened, sweetie? Come here. You picked him up and sat him down on your lap. You wiped his tears, whispering sweet nothings in order to calm him down. Tell me what happened. Did someone say something to you? You asked when he was a little calm. He shook his head and pointed at Minho. He looked at Minho, who was now playing with his friends, following in confusion. When he made a drawing, you gave him a kiss, but you didn't give me one. You don't like me? You blinked, amusement and disbelief marring your face. Oh, my sweet boy, I'm so sorry. Let me give you two kisses to make it up to you. You pressed a kiss on either of his cheeks. Happy now? You chuckled when his cheeks turned pink and he hid his face in his tiny palms. You shook your head and put him down on his feet. Come on, now go back to your seat. He ran back to his seat, happier than ever. You let out a soft sigh. A smile edged across your face as you looked around at the kids. Some were playing, some were painting, some were blabbering, and some were on the verge of dozing off. One of the perks of being a kindergarten teacher was that you were surrounded by overflowing cuteness. The kids loved you a lot, and nothing could beat the innocence of their love. Suddenly, a thought struck your mind. How would it feel to have a child of your own? A tiny version of you or your husband? Your heart swelled with happiness, imagining a little bundle of mischief running around the house. You and Jungkook never discussed this topic, though this thought has struck your head multiple times. But day by day, your desire to have a kid of your own was intensifying. You decided that you would talk to Jungkook about this. You and Jungkook were curled up in the bed. Your head was resting upon his chest while he was gliding his fingers through your hair. There was serene, comfortable silence between you two. You sighed, nestling your face more in his chest. Jungkook looked down at you, observing your expression silently. You seemed to be in deep thought. It made him curious as to what other things got your attention when he was right beside you. He poked your forehead, bringing you out of your reverie. He raised his eyebrows questioningly when your gaze met his. What's wrong? The corner of your lips twisted into a small smile, but as you shook your head, burying your face in the nook of his neck. Nothing. I'm just tired. He tucked your hair, holding you more tightly, and pressed a kiss on your head. Are these cute little monsters giving you a hard time? You know your husband can fight with anyone, right? You chuckled and pulled your head back to face him. He smiled, a mischievous glint in his eyes. You poked his nose with your index finger, smiling up at him. You are cute, but my little monsters are cuter, and I can't stand anyone fighting with them. Oh damn, I lost without even fighting. He shook his head, feigning sadness. A burst of giggles escaped your lips as you dropped your head back on his chest. He surely knew how to lift off your mood. The silence fell over again, which was eventually broke when Jungkook started humming a random melody. Your eyes closed as his soothing, melodious voice reached your ears. This was very much needed after a tiring day. A few loving moments with your husband were enough to shut down your thoughts and lull you in serenity. You had him, what more you could ask for? Jungkook, you whispered after a brief moment of silence. He stopped humming, insinuating you to continue. You bit on your lower lip as you lifted your head to meet his gaze. What do you think about kids? You asked hesitantly. He frowned, catching off guard by your sudden question, his face edged with confusion. Kids are cute, except a few of your little monsters who kept stealing kisses from you. He shrunk his nose in the end, earning a chuckle from you. They are cute for sure, but I wasn't asking about them. I mean, our kid. What do you think about having a child of your own? You asked again, unsure of how he would react. He fell silent, and it made you wonder if you had asked something wrong. His silence depicted many meanings, but your mind kept wandering towards the negative ones. With each moment stretching into silence, your heartbeat accelerated. When you felt like your heart would jump out of your ribcage any moment, he finally decided to break the silence. He sighed and tucked a stray strand of your hair behind your ear. You know, love, I have just started my business a year ago and I'm still struggling to make my name in the business world. And you too want to become a professor, right? He asked, his thumb stroking your cheekbone. Not anymore. I like what I'm doing, Jungkook. I know I had big dreams, but being a kindergarten teacher gives me happiness, and I want to pursue this. Jungkook gave an affirmative nod, pondering over something. That's good. I only want you to be happy with whatever you are doing, be it becoming a professor or continuing as a kindergarten teacher. But he paused and took a deep breath. But I want to accomplish whatever I dreamed of, and I need time for that, a little less responsibility. I want to be stable in every aspect before bringing a new life between us. He blurted out, blinking up at the ceiling. I wish that whenever I become a father, I'll be available for my kid. I don't want to be an unstable man running after money and miss my kid's childhood. It takes a lot to raise a child, and I think I'm not strong enough for this responsibility. Not yet. Your heart sank at his words. Your expression saddened as you rested your head back on his chest. You knew he was right, but your heart just couldn't take the rejection because you really wanted to be a mother. Hey, don't be upset, love. I'm not saying I don't want a kid. I just don't want to become a father now. Maybe a year or two later, but not just yet. Let out a soft sigh and nodded. I understand, you are right at your place. You mumbled, though your heart clenched in sadness. But you couldn't blame him. You both should be ready for this big responsibility. His feelings equally mattered. He hooked his index finger under your chin and made you look up at him. He leaned down and pressed a soft peck on your nose. We'll have a baby for sure. Until then, I'm your baby and you are mine. We can pamper each other, no? You chuckled and lifted your head to press your lips against his. He responded almost immediately, kissing you slowly and gently. After a few moments, you broke apart, smiling at each other. Your smile disappeared and a gasp escaped your lips when he suddenly flipped your positions with a swift move. You blinked, your face etched with bewilderment. He smiled down at you, leaning his face closer to yours. Do you know how much I love you? He whispered, his voice low and husky, his gaze switching between your eyes and your lips. The sudden change in his tone caught you off guard. Of course, I do know, you replied softly. A frown formed in your forehead when he scrunched his nose in distaste. Say, no, I don't, but I do know that you love me a lot, you retorted, beaming at him. He groaned in annoyance. I'm trying to create a perfect moment. Don't ruin it, please, and play along. He whined. You rolled your eyes at his dramatics. Let me ask again. Do you know how much I love you? No, I don't, you replied with a flat tone. The next moment, a squeal escaped your lips when he pinned your hand on the mattress beside your head. Good, because I'm gonna show you now, he whispered seductively. You couldn't help but burst into laughter. He was acting like those fictional heroes in movies. You just need a reason, he chuckled and dropped his head in the nook of your neck. A sigh brushed past your lips when he pressed a kiss on your sweet spot. Well, I don't need any reason to love my wife, but since she goes bonkers over those fictional men, I need to come up with new tricks to show her that her real man is the best, he whispered, pressing his forehead against yours. Are you ready, baby girl? You dramatically cleared your throat, blood rushing up to your cheeks. Brace yourself. The night is still young, and tonight you are at my mercy. Morning, beautiful, wake up, he whispered, tracing his knuckles on your cheeks. You let out a soft sigh and slowly opened your eyes. He gave you a sweet smile when your eyes met his. Are you feeling better? He asked, worry laced his tone. You slowly nodded, though you still felt weak, but he didn't look convinced at all. You had been feeling sick for the past few days and it got him worried about your health. He was insisting on seeing a doctor, but you dismissed it every time, saying you were just tired. You don't look fine though. Let's go and see a doctor. I'm really worried for you. He mumbled, caressing your head, but you shook your head. I'm fine, and you have a meeting, remember? Go and get ready. You tried to change the topic, but his eyes remained glued to your face. He rolled his eyes, shaking his head in helplessness. I'm not going for the meeting. Hey, but why? You said this deal is important for you. It will be a turning point in your career. It is, but it is not more important than you. I can't leave my sick wife alone and attend the meeting. Never. Your heart melted and a weak, faint smile carved on your lips. I don't like to see you like this, pale and weak. I want my wife to be all hale and hearty. He pressed his lips to your forehead. You closed your eyes as his warm lips stayed there a moment longer than usual. I'm fine, really. Go for the meeting, otherwise, I'll think I'm being a hurdle in your success. As soon as those words left your lips, his expression hardened and he glared at you. You are getting on my nerves, lady. You can never be a hurdle in anything, and as your husband, It's my right to take care of you. I vowed to be with you inside sickness, remember? You sighed in defeat. You forgot that he was one hell of a stubborn guy. Fine, let's make a mutual decision then. You go and attend the meeting. After you get back, we both will visit the doctor, and I won't deny it, I promise. He narrowed his eyes, thinking about your suggestion for a moment, and nodded. Fine, but promise me you will call me immediately if you feel sick again. You smiled and nodded. He sighed and leaned closer. You chuckled weakly as he peppered kisses all over your face. I'll be back really quick. Take care of yourself for me, he whispered, pressing a long peck on her lips, and rose from the bed. You watched as he disappeared in the closet to get ready for his office. You sighed and snuggled into the sheets. Deep down, you knew why you were feeling sick all of a sudden. The symptoms were all of pregnancy, and it sent a jolt of electricity down your spine. You had pregnancy test kits available at home, but with Jungkook wandering around you all the time, you couldn't use them. Today was a perfect opportunity. You couldn't wait for him to leave for work so that you could finally confirm your suspicion. You fidgeted with your fingers, tapping your foot against the floor as you waited patiently for the test kit to show results. Each stretching moment intensified your anxiety. You twisted your clammy hands and peeked at the first one. It showed only one night, insinuating negative results. Relief washed over you, but it only lasted for a moment until you peeked at the second one. Your heart pegged at space when you saw two lines in it. Your chest swelled with joy, but fear overshadowed it when your mind replayed the conversation you had with Jungkook a few weeks ago. He didn't want a child, and here you were expecting a pregnancy, though it wasn't confirmed yet. If it turned out to be true, what would you do? How would you break this news in front of Jungkook? And above all, how would he react to it? Will he accept it? You whispered to yourself, looking at the positive pregnancy test. Your hands shivered as you picked it up and stared at it from close. Don't worry, Vine, it's not confirmed yet, but what if? You trailed off as anxiety overpowered your mind. Tears stung your vision. The mixed feelings are the worst. One doesn't know how and what to feel, and everything just gets overwhelming. Jungkook, what are you doing? You asked, furrowing in confusion as he held your shoulders and made you stand in front of the mirror. What is it? I need to prepare dinner. You asked again, annoyance lacing your tone. You were preparing dinner when he returned from work and directly dragged you to the bedroom without a word. Just be a little patient, my lady, and stay put. You watched as he walked back and brought out a box from his office bag. It seemed like a jewelry box. He padded back to his previous spot, which was behind you. Look in the mirror. You sighed, nevertheless obeyed his words. He collected your hair on one side and tied a necklace around your neck. Your lips parted in surprise when you looked at the beautiful diamond neckpiece. He pressed his lips to the side of your head and snaked his arms around your waist. A smile bloomed on your lips as you traced your fingers along the intricate design of the necklace. It was beautiful. Jungkook, this is for you, he interrupted, resting his chin on your shoulder. Your eyes locked on his through the mirror. And guess who designed it? Your one and only insanely handsome husband, Uchakar, leaning back against his chest. And why this sudden gift? Is there something special? There is. You remember the meeting I attended 2 days ago? The deal is finalized. I got the biggest order of my career. Eyes enlarged with pure delight, he turned around, still in his embrace, and hugged him tightly. Congratulations, I'm so proud of you. Thank you. It's all because of you. Since the day you stepped into my life, everything is going well. You broke the hug, waving your hand dismissively. It's not because of me, it's the result of your own hard work. I have seen you working day and night to achieve this. Finally, your hard work paid off. You cupped his cheeks, tiptoeing to press a peck on his forehead. Whatever, I was just appreciating my wife, and I have all the rights to do so. Can't stop me, lady. He poked your nose with his index finger, playfully glaring at you. Like they say, there's a woman behind every successful man, but for me, there's my woman with me in my hardships, beside me in my struggles, and ahead of me in my success. His words made you cry. Tears trickled down your cheeks. Oh god, no, not the waterfall again. I need to call the emergency services because my wife won't stop crying until there's a flood in half of the world. You glared at him and smacked his chest. I hate you. Oh, I hate you more. He chuckled and hugged you, brushing his lips against your temple. Silence fell over as you both stood there wrapped in each other's arms. The serenity of the moment calmed you, not until Jungkook broke the silence to ask you a question. Did you collect your report from the hospital? Your heart sank to your stomach. You visited the doctor with Jungkook the previous day and you got the results today. You were pregnant, but you didn't know how to disclose it in front of Jungkook. Yes, you replied in a meek tone, your palm fisted around his shirt as you looked up at him. Your mind wandered to every possibility, each ending with Jungkook asking you to terminate the pregnancy. What's written there? What did the doctor say? You swallowed in nervousness and tore your gaze away from him. No matter how much you tried, you couldn't muster the courage to tell him the truth. Food poisoning. I had food poisoning because I ate street food the other day. You lied smoothly and lowered your head in shame. It was hard to look at his eyes after being dishonest. You knew he would catch your lies within seconds. I knew it. How can you be so careless, Ryan? Street food, really? You know you always end up sick after having it. Still, you. He paused, heaving out a huge sigh. You know what? I'm not talking to you anymore. You snapped your head up as he folded his arms across his chest and turned away. Tears filled your eyes and slowly fell down your cheeks. You hugged him from behind, pressing your cheeks against his broad back. I am sorry. You sniffed, clutching the fabric of his shirt in your palms. He sighed and turned around. If you were his strength, your tears were his weakness. I'm really calling emergency services this time. You cried louder and punching on his chest. He chuckled and hugged you, swiping your feet off the floor. You buried your face against his shoulder, wanting his warmth to comfort you at that moment. If you stop crying, I'll buy you ice cream. Your cries halted. Anxiety ebbed away when you heard the word ice cream. You pulled your head back to meet his eyes. Such a crybaby. He shook his head and wiped your tear-stricken face. You sniffed, and your lips jutted down in sadness. Two ice creams. He sighed and nodded, making you squeal in excitement. The negative thoughts were long forgotten as a big smile curved on your lips. Those kids have rubbed off on you in a bad way. You cry all the time, you throw tantrums, you want ice cream, and you hit me. You frowned in fake anger and smacked his chest. Dare you to say anything about my kids? You pointed your finger at him. He rolled his eyes and lightly bit on your finger. Of course, I'm not saying anything about your kids. Here, my lady, your breakfast. He put a plate in front of you and sat down with his own plate to have breakfast. You sat silently, poking at the food absent mindedly. Jungkook noticed your silent behavior and looked at you closely. He had been noticing this for 4 days now. Upon asking, you replied, I'm tired, and he didn't push it further, thinking he was overthinking. But the change was evident. You were silent and lost in your thoughts most of the time. It wasn't only about exertion, but something more. When? What's wrong? You blinked as if coming back from a reverie and looked at him. Nothing, I'm just. No, you are not just tired. I have been noticing you for days. You haven't been yourself lately. You are definitely stressed about something. Did I do something? He asked, reaching out to hold your hands. You blinked back your tears, trying to maintain your composure. No, I'm just tired, Jungkook, saturated from the same routine. You lied again, feigning a smile. Look, love, my workload has increased tenfold. I'm trying my best to give you as much time as before, but there will be times when I might not be able to spend time with you how I should. If you ever feel like my behavior is hurting you or you feel ignored, confront me. He pulled your chair a little closer to his and inches closer to your face. I'll try my best to not give you a hard time anyhow, but I'm human and humans make mistakes. I just want you to knock some senses in me if I am being too much, okay? You nodded. Despite your efforts to hold back your tears, a few rolled down your cheeks. This damn waterfall. Nothing can hurt me but this. He wiped your tears and cradled your face between his palms. Tell me what's wrong. Is it because I came last night? But I apologized and even brought you ice cream. I'm sorry again if you are still mad at me. You shook your head as he held his ears while saying sorry to you. Then what? You and I both know that it's not only because of exhaustion. I want you to tell me the truth. A strong urge to him about your pregnancy arose within, but you held yourself back. As he explained earlier, there would be times when he'd be extremely busy. Amit said, how would he be able to be available to you or your kid? He would definitely told you to abort the child. You swallowed the lump that formed in your throat. You rose from your chair and sat on his laps. I am hug deprived. You hadn't hugged me properly in ages. He blinked, processing your words, and then chuckled as he embraced you tightly. Gosh, you scared me. I can hug you all day, all night if that's what you want, my pretty lady. You closed your eyes, nestling closer. He held you tightly yet protectively, threading his fingers through your hair. In that fleeting moment, you made a decision. You would terminate the pregnancy without telling him. It would hurt you a lot, but it would be the best for you and Jungkook. Jungkook barged inside the doctor's cabin, panting heavily, the pregnancy report tightly clutched in his hand. My wife, Jonwan, she. He trailed off, his breath coming in short, heavy gasps. The doctor, who was about to burst on him for barging into her cabin, fell silent. Was she here to abort the child? His heart thumped inside his chest, the knots of anxiety tightening in his stomach. He had a tiny hope that whatever he got to know was wrong, but the hope shattered when the doctor nodded her head. He had gone home to grab a file he had forgotten. There he came across your pregnancy reports. He didn't waste a moment to make a call to the hospital, and then he got to know that today you were here to terminate the pregnancy. To abort the child he had just gotten to know about it. Where is she? He asked in monotonous voice. The doctor looked at him and sighed. She was your regular gynecologist and she promised to not tell this to Jungkook. But now she had no choice. You were sitting in the hospital's garden, still dressed in the hospital gown. Tears were streaming down your face, and you just wanted Jungkook to hold you tightly and calm you down. How dare you? Your head snapped up at the familiar voice. Your eyes widened when you saw Jungkook approaching you with heavy steps, his eyes red with anger. You got up hastily. How dare you, Ryan? How dare you hide about your pregnancy? And not only that, you decided to abort the child? Who gave you the right to decide everything about the child by yourself? Don't I have any rights? You shook your head and reached out to hold his hand, but he stepped back. Jungkook, listen. How many times have I asked you? Tell me if something is wrong. Confront me. Communicate with me, but you? You flinched at its sudden outburst. He clenched his jaw and looked away. You stepped closer and hugged him. He tried to push you away, but you tightened your grip, refusing to let go. I didn't abort the child. I couldn't. That doesn't change the fact that you were here for that in the first place. He said, breathing heavily as he gave up to push you away. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I was stupid. You said the other day that you don't want a child, and then it happened. I wanted to tell you, but then the deal happened. I thought you trailed off and burst into loud sobs. You thought what? To kill our child? You squeezed your eyes shut and shook your head. His words hurt you, but he had every right to be angry. And I said I didn't want a child because I didn't know you were pregnant. I never asked you to go for an abortion, did I? His voice was not calm, but laced with hurt and pain. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. He shook his head, his own eyes brimmed with tears as he cried harder. His heart was still thumping wildly. What if you had actually gone through an abortion? He grabbed your shoulders and gently parted you away despite your protest. I know you are a person who overthinks and makes stupid decisions out of that. That's why I asked you to communicate. This was downright stupid and something I won't forgive easily. You sobbed and tried to hug him again, but he didn't let you. I am happy that you and our child are safe. I'm happy with your pregnancy as well, but I need time to get over this stupid decision of yours. Please, I'm sorry. You stepped closer and buried your face in his chest. He didn't stop at this time and wrapped his arms around your petite body. Why did you have to make this decision, Ryan? Did I fail as a husband? Did I fail to make you feel safe so that you could at least share things with me? He mumbled, a few tears trickled down his face. No, no, you're the best. It's me. I'm the problem. I am stupid. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Look at me. You shook your head, but he forcefully made you look at him. His heart glanced at the sight of your tear-stained face, but he was more devastated than you. I wish I could punch you. It will hurt. He chuckled through his tears, but there was no humor in it. You hurt me. More than anyone could ever do that. You whimpered and held your ears. I am sorry. Please forgive me this once. I swear I'll be better and I won't repeat something like this ever again. Listen to me. I don't want to stress you as you are pregnant, so I'll spare you the punishment. But I want to let you know that I haven't forgiven you for this abortion thing, and I'm not doing it anytime soon. Your heart tightened painfully. It was easy to endure when he showed his resentment by ignoring you or giving you a silent treatment, but thus, behaving everything was fine, but he was still hurt inside. It was something really hard to bear. Let's go home now. He placed his head on the small of your back and escorted you back inside the hospital. How long are you going to stay mad at me? You asked, unable to take his silence. He shrugged his shoulders, looking everywhere but you. You knew the upcoming few days would be the toughest because you would see his resentment in his every action. Come on, my lady, one last push. let out a loud cry, and with one last push, the baby popped out, loud wailing filling the air. Your eyes drooped due to exhaustion, but a smile formed on your face when they placed the baby on your chest. It's a girl. You cawed at the wailing baby, but your ears perked up when you heard a cry beside you. Craning your head, you found Jungkook wailing as louder as your baby girl. Why are you crying? Because she is crying, he replied, his cries getting louder with the baby's cries. Because she is a baby, and I'm baby's father. You sighed and shook your head. You were too tired for his dramatics. Your mind drifted back to the day when you came in the hospital to put the baby. Your heart shuddered in the thought. Had you done it, you wouldn't be here holding her in your arms. That was stupid, and Jungkook made sure you realized it. For a month, he constantly reminded you of your stupidity. It was overwhelming. Eventually, he forgave you and never brought up the topic ever again. And here you were, holding your crying daughter in your arms and her wailing father beside you.